Okay, everybody, so this is how the notes are going to be done on video. So the distance formula is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so for example 1, it says find the distance between the 2 points on the graph. So the 2 points on the graph are going to be this one right here and that one right there. So the first point is 5, 3. So sorry, negative 5, comma 3. And the second one is down here. It's going to be negative 2, negative 3. As long as you're consistent, you can make this one 0.1, 0.2, or you can do the reverse. So d is equal to the square root of your x's. So negative 2 minus a minus 5 squared plus negative 3 minus 3 squared. So right here, those will turn into a positive. So the square root of negative 2 plus 5 is 3 squared plus negative 3 and negative 3 is negative 6 squared. Square root, this one right here is 9. This right here is positive 36. Add those two together, you get 45. And if we put them into your calculator, and let's round it, which means we do this little fun guy, we get 6.7. Now, what does that represent? Well, that represents the distance between this point and that point. Some of you are probably saying, well, why can't I do the Pythagorean theorem? It's not what we're looking for, okay? So, for example 2, find AB, and they give you the 2 points right there. So, D is equal to the square root of negative 1. Oh, we need x's, not y's, so get rid of that. So we're going to do 3 minus a minus 4 squared plus negative 1 minus 1 squared. Okay, so again, this turns into a positive, and we get D is equal to the square root, this right here. Oh, there should be another parentheses there. Hold on a second. Let me fix this. Parentheses, parentheses, squared. There we go. So this is going to be 7 squared plus, oh, this needs to be extended, negative 1 and a negative 1 is a negative 2. And then combine those. I'm sorry, square those. We get 49 plus 4. And then combine those, we get 53. I don't know why I hesitated, sorry. And then, again, estimating it would be the distance is 7.3. Okay, you guys try example 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to pause the video and then do the work and then start the video again. Please do this on your own. It's actually beneficial. So hopefully the work definitely matches up with yours, for example 3. Okay, so the midpoint formula, this one's going to be a fraction because it says point in there. So midpoint, you're going to use a ending result of a point. So the formula is x1 plus x2 over 2, because midpoint you want halfway there, and then y1 plus y2 over 2. All right, so we're using, for example, 1, we're using these points right there. So the midpoint of, oh, I don't want to do that. Sorry, guys. Okay, so to find the midpoint of GH, I'm going to do midpoint is going to equal, I always want you guys to do 2 lines for fractions. It's not worth trying to do it the other way. So 7 plus the 9, your x's, over 2, comma, now do your y's. -5 plus a -1 all over 2. So if we keep going this direction, 7 and 9 is 16 over 2. -5 and -1 is -6 over 2. So your midpoint is going to equal 16 divided by 2 is 8. -6 divided by 2 is -3. All right, you guys try example number 2, and when you're done, you can turn the video back on. Okay, so I hope that your work lines up with what I have. Let's put a line right there so you guys can see the difference. All right? Hopefully that makes sense and you're asking questions about this. Let's go to the next page. Now you're trying to find a missing endpoint. Missing endpoint. Before we were finding the midpoint of the 2 points. Now we're finding what the endpoint is having the midpoint. So again, the formula, but we're going to do it this way now, is going to equal I need to erase something. So I want to erase these little numbers here because they don't need to be there. So this right here is your midpoint. And this part of it is your 2 points. Okay, so find the coordinates of A. So we're trying to find this. So the coordinates of A, meaning A might be the midpoint, A might be the endpoint. Let's keep reading. If M, -1, 2, is the midpoint, so there's your answer. This right here is your midpoint. Okay, that is your midpoint of segment AB. So this guy right here signifies segment, and B has the coordinates of, so B has the coordinates of that. All right, so my suggestion would be is to always write the formula down, always, but I'm going to flip these. Oops. I'm going to flip these around, and I'm sorry if you want to rewrite it the other way. Okay, so x1, so these are going to be, for coordinates A, you're going to have blanks. So we'll use the ones for the blanks. So x1 plus the 3 divided by 2, y1 minus the 5 over 2, and that's going to equal your midpoint. All right, how do you solve for x1 and y1? You're going to take this right here, and you're going to equal it to this. Okay, it's what's going to look like is this. X plus 3 over 2 is going to equal -1. You're then going to take this, and you're going to equal it to that. Y1 minus the 5 over 2 equals 2. Now, how do you solve for x? Right here, you multiply both sides by 2. Those cancel, and you get x plus 3 equals -2. Subtract your 3, so x is going to equal -5. And you guys have to make sure you keep that 1 there. Okay, so there's your x. Now up here, again, multiply by 2. Those cancel, and you get y1 minus the 5 equals 4. Add the 5. Y1 equals 9. You're not done. You're not done. You have to put it into a point. Now you're done. Remember, x comes before y in a point. Okay, you guys try number 2 and 3, and then I'll show you how to do the bottom ones. Okay, so I hope that your number 2 comes out the same as what I have. For number 3, your answer should be, oh, what was that? That was odd. For number 3, your answer should be -7, 0. All right, so going down to number 4. P is the midpoint of this line. Sorry, this is probably a segment. So if we have this segment right here, and we've got x, y, and right in the center is P. Wow, that looks really centered. Okay, so if xp is being represented by that, and py is being represented by this, how do we make an equation out of this? Well, what do you know about midpoint in words? What would midpoint stand for in words? Splits the object into 2 equal parts. Hold on 1 second. Didn't realize I didn't lock this down. There we go. Let's see if it likes it. Nope. But we can group it. There we go. So with that said, if these are 2 congruent parts, that means we can then do this. 8x minus 2 equals 12x minus 30. And you're going to solve for x because it wants the value of x. So I am going to subtract 8x. Those cancel. I get -2 equals, combine these, what do you get? 4x minus the 30. Add your 30. Those cancel. I'm going to bring it up here. And you get 28 equals 4x. Divide by 4. X equals 7. Okay, you try number 5 and then turn it back on. So you can see I didn't do all of the work with this. Okay, but there's the answer, x equals 3. You need to now then plug it back into just one of them. It doesn't matter, and then just times it by 2 or add the second, the next one. So I did it by FG, got an answer of 67, then I doubled it, got 134. Okay, using the diagram to the left, if line N bisects QR, find QP. So bisects means cut in half. So that means that this right here is going to be equal to that. So again, you just equal them together and solve. So 3x plus 5 equals 5x minus 19. When you solve it all down, x comes out as 12. And because it wants to find QP, it just wants this. So 3 times the 12 plus the 5, 36 plus the 5. So QP is going to equal 41. So your homework for this one is going to be homework 2. Okay, so you need to do homework 2. And make sure you show all your work. And I don't know, maybe a quiz towards the end of the week on the 2 sections. We'll see how you guys are today.